Live.
Okay then. Well, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Any ladies that will join us later, good morning to them also. I am Bob Turner, W6HRK. I'm the Section Emergency Coordinator for the Amateur Radio Emergency Services in the Orange section. And I'm going to give you a presentation on what ARES is, because there's some misconceptions of what it is and what it is not. So let me share my screen here. There we go.
Wow.
Slideshow, here we go. Okay, this is a brief orientation to the Emergency Communication Service of the American Radio Relay League, namely ARES. So we're going to look at the ARES organization overall, the qualifications for membership, the ARES task book, and then how ARES operates. So the ARRL has divided up the nation into 15 divisions. We are in the Southwestern Division. Southwestern Division incorporates Arizona section, which is the entire state of Arizona. LA section, of course, is LA County. The Orange section, which is where we are, is Inyo, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. San Diego section is Imperial and San Diego, and Santa Barbara section, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, and of course, Ventura. The Orange section is managed by the section manager. At this time, it's Carl Gardinas, WU6D. He's elected by the ARRL members. And then he in turn appoints the section emergency coordinator, myself. And then I in turn can appoint local emergency coordinators, district emergency coordinators, and they in turn can appoint their own assistants as needed. So that's a brief overview of how we're set up. So the qualifications for membership, it used to be all you had to do was say, I want to be an ARES member, and you were. They've upgraded things now and standardized the levels of membership. So there's 3 different levels. Level 1 is the primary entry level. This is where someone wants to join an organization, and they have introductory training conducted by their local emergency group. Training can be formal, informal. It's really up to the group. This is just the entry level membership. Level 2 is those people that have started to add training. They've completed the Emergency Communications 001 course. This is a free course offered by the ARRL. And then the FEMA courses, the Incident Command System, Incident Command System for Initial Responses, National Incident Management System, and the National Response Framework. And as I'm sure you know, these are all free FEMA courses as well. So that gives you to level 2. Level 3 is for our leadership individuals. In addition to all those previous trainings, you also have to take the Emergency Communications 016 course, which is Emergency Communications for Management. And then the FEMA Professional Development Series of courses, which is 7 more FEMA courses. ICS 300 and 400 is recommended, but it's optional. These are difficult to get into because they're not held very often, and they're usually filled by first responders. Quite frankly, at our level, I don't think we need that, but God bless you if that's what you want to do. So these courses and the levels are all documented in the Emergency Communicator individual task book. So we actually have a task book, that documents all this. The first page here is all your personal information, the group's information. And then the task book is broken down into 3 categories: education, participation, and your skills. Level 3, which is the leadership category, also has an additional category of leadership. So this is the for education. The letter O is optional, R is required. So in level 1, there's really no requirements. It's join a group and get committed. Level 2 is where you start taking your training. So you see your ICS course is required, IS 200, the NIMS, your National Response Framework, and ECO 1. Those are all required courses. And then level 3 shows the other required trainings. And again, O's are optional for education. In participation, the only requirement for level 1 is join ARES. Okay. And this is for your folks that don't really want to be deployed anywhere. They're minimal participation. They can't get out for whatever reason, and they only want to operate from home. That's fine. We need those people anyway, because those are your net operators. They know what's happening on their street. They know what's happening in their neighborhood. No one else does but them. So we need those folks as well. Level 2, you need to participate in the net. And then level 3, public service events, which could be parade, bicycle race, fun run, something like that. A set, which is your simulated emergency test. And then you want to serve as net control. Those are requirements. And then your skills. For level 1, you just need a tech license. Level 2, you need to be able to program an HT. Let's do it from the HT itself. I know there's lots of programs out there that will program your HT for you, but it's a good skill to have, to be able to program your skill on your HT. And it's remarkable how many people do not know how to program an HT. Write and send an IS-213. Build a dipole antenna. Now, this is a different designation. E is essential. This is an essential skill to have. Build a power pole adapter cable. Solder and assemble the deployment kit. A lot of us have done this anyway. Some of us haven't. But these are necessary skills to have. These are things that people would expect you to be able to do. And then level 3 is operate digital. That's a requirement. And be proficient with ICS forms. And you should be able to do that because level 3, again, is your leadership level. And then on to level 3, present a training session, hold a leadership position, such as an EC, or even an assistant EC would be fine. General class license is a requirement. Participate in a PIO activity. It's your public information officer activity. Talking to your local radio station, your local paper. If you have an HOA organization and they have a newsletter, you can talk to them. That would fulfill that requirement. And optional is to be an instructor or mentor. So in summary, for the requirements, level 1, participate, and your skills is have a tech license. Level 2, 5 education requirements, 2 participation requirements, and 3 skills. And then level 3 is 14 educational requirements because it's all those FEMA classes that you need to take. So we're really heavy on education. To break down the 2 educational courses that's required, EC1 and 16. EC1 is the framework of emergency communications, how we fit in. Networks, message handling, what happens when called. There's over 28 topics, and each topic has an activity to complete. So it's pretty involved. I don't know if any of you have ever taken the old EC courses. There used to be 3 of them, EC 1, 2, and 3. Well, several years back, ARRL reformatted those courses and just made one. And basically what they did is they took all 3 courses and mushed them together to make one course out of it. The EC 16 course, again, it goes over mostly management activities, management in the incident command system, overview of net operations, health and welfare, traffic management, digital messages, FCC rules. It's heavily on management activities, and this is again where we want you to be. Now, if you notice up on the top, the ICS courses 100 and 700 are prerequisites to the 001 course. And 200, 800, and the professional development series are prerequisites to 16. So if you're going to take 16, you're going to fulfill all those requirements necessary for the task book anyway. So it's all built in. So how do we operate? Well, we move information from an affected area to outside the affected area. It can be transmitted via HF, local networks, simplex, whatever seems to work. And we can get information out on the national traffic system and move information across the nation. We support government and non-government agencies. Members outside an affected region should monitor their local repeaters for information, for emergency traffic. Be ready to assume any ICS position that you can. Now, we've all taken ICS, or you will at some point. And you may think, well, how am I going to relate this to amateur radio? Well, I'll show you how that all works in a moment. This is a graphic showing the circle there is the affected area. We may serve the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, homeowners associations, CERT teams. Again, our individual ARES members, we need those people also. The people that can't get out or don't want to get out, we need those also. Again, those are your net controllers. They can pass traffic for you. We get information out to local and regional governments and non-governmental organizations. And they can jump onto the national traffic system, move information across the nation. No other organization does that. That's what we do. So this is your ICS organization. Now, a lot of people will think, well, I need to respond and get down to the EOC, your Emergency Operations Center. You can build and establish an EOC on the air. That's what this does. This is just an example of how to do it. These are all simplex frequencies that I just picked randomly. You can use whatever frequencies make sense for your organization. So when something happens, someone gets on the air, they become the incident commander because they're the first ones on. As people start to log on to the net, you can start assigning those different positions. Assign them different frequencies to keep the traffic down on any situation. And there's a whole another presentation I have on the ICS on the air, but it can be done on the air. And we really stress that. Stay within your ICS. Apply your training to EOC on the air. Excuse me. So, ARES activation. We're self-activating. We don't self-deploy. We don't wait around for deployment. Something like RACES does. They know that something cool has happened, but they have to wait for their government agency to activate them. ARES is self-activating. So when something cool happens, they go, that's interesting. They reach over, turn on the radio, they're activated. It's that simple. We tune equipment to the local net frequencies. local simplex frequencies, whatever you have that you're normally operating on, and that you're reasonably sure that you're going to get contact on someone else. Clubs and groups that offer their services to HOAs or CERTs or the city or whatever that you do, follow their activation protocol, of course. But individual ARES members were self-activating. Very similar to Skywarn, they're self-activating. We get information down to the last mile. We're the boots on the ground. Other organizations, they report to their EOCs, they have their own mandates. We get boots on the ground in the affected area. Again, nobody else does that. That's what we do. We recognize the other organizations. We're ready to assist them in any way we can. So in summary, we provide the foundation of knowledge that the community expects. Your neighborhood watches, your CERT, your HOAs, your local government. We provide that knowledge base that they would expect an emergency communicator to have. Becoming an ARES member doesn't exclude you from any other membership. In fact, what it does is enhances that other organization that you're a member of by virtue of being an ARES member, because you're a trained operator. And you can see there's a robust list of skills and courses that you would need. So with that, any questions, comments, speeches?
That's a lot of stuff.
A comment?
George, yes, go ahead.
Are you able, whoops, okay, you went through the slide. About the third slide from the last, it showed the tier of the incident commander and then went down to 3 people, and then there were another 3 folks. The second one in command, if you go back from the very end, about 2 or 3 slides back, that showed that.
Let's see if I can get there.
Okay, no problem. I'll tell you when you get there. Right there, yeah.
Okay.
The liaison was a different frequency from the PIO and safety and security. Who would the liaison be communicating with? Because this frequency was off from the incident commander above him and his peers on the same line, and then people below him. So his frequency was off. Was that a typo, or is he talking to somebody independently that's not on the chart?
No, your liaison is he's the one that's talking to your outside groups. Okay, and so as people report in, volunteers, whatever, they report into the liaison. He could flip frequencies, tell the incident commander or the operations people, you know, who's on board. You would want your liaison on a separate frequency just to keep down the chatter.
Okay, that makes sense. I didn't understand.
Okay, you know, something cool happens, everybody jumps on the radio and say, hey, could I help? Well, there's a different frequency for you.
Right.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, next question would be, I haven't joined either of the groups, the ARRL or ARES or whatever. Would I, if I wanted to get interested and go to the next level after having my technician license, would I go into ARES first and want to become part of ARES and then ultimately maybe ARRL? Is that the sequence that somebody would generally go?
Well, the ARES organization is the field organization for the ARRL. You don't have to be an ARRL member to be a member of ARES.
Okay, all right.
Unless I got your question.
I was trying to figure out if I wanted to take it to the next level, which maybe I should. I was wondering where I should focus on the ARES.
Well, naturally, I would want you to be ARES, yes.
Okay, all right, that's the question.
But
the answer.
my understanding is the Solera group works with the Banning Pass group. Is that what you're going to say, Ray?
Yes, that's correct. And I was just going to tell George, the whole idea is for us to start training up. And that's why we're doing this introduction. we have a workbook, and I'll start working on getting workbooks for everybody. So everybody can have something in hand to take a look at what are your requirements, what do you would need to be level 1, level 2, and heaven forbid, level 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Heaven forbid. You know, even if you're not in a leadership row, that EC 16 course is really a pretty good course, as well as all those professional development series courses. It's actually good stuff. Okay, you can still see my screen on
Yes.
the Orange Section webpage.
Yes.
Okay. If you go to orange-arrl.org, this is the Orange Section website. Click on ARES. And that takes you to the ARES webpage. Okay. There's my contact information. If you wake up in the middle of the night screaming out, oh, I wish I would have asked, well, you can email me. If you want to know more about me, my LinkedIn profile is there. But right here, you click on the logo to register as ARES. And that takes you to the registration database. If you're already registered, you log in, but you just click there. It's really easy to register. It logs in your training. The system will also allow the EC, emergency coordinator, to send out email messages right from the system. It will also send a text message to anybody in the group. So that's how you would start. You register right here by clicking on that logo.
Okay.
Click on logo to register. Now we also have an emergency operations plan. This is a general plan. This is not your tactical plan. The tactical plans would be produced by the local EC and local groups. You can download it and show all your friends if you want, or you can just click here and read it. Down here is the actual task book. Let's take a look at that. Again, you can download this and print it out at your leisure. And this is what it looks like. This is your level 1 page. And here's your level 2. Again, it shows what are required and what's optional. And there's room at the end to blank pages at the end that you can print out. If your group has your own specialized training, you can keep track of that as well. So that's the ARES task book, available on the web from our ARES page. The ARES Emergency Operations Plan. Again, this is the basic plan. This is not your tactical plan because it serves all 4 counties. It's designed very much like the county plans, with the purpose and the scope of the plan. Some of the things we've already went over: our mission statement, vision, strategic plan, organizational structure. Levels of membership is in here. Situational overviews. Concept of operations, how we activate. A little blurb on disaster service workers, and I want to emphasize that ARES are not disaster service workers. That causes some concern with some folks because we're not covered under workers' comp. That's what disaster service worker would do for you. Now, if your local community or your local government swears you in as a disaster service worker, then you are. But typically, just as an ARES volunteer, you are not. That's RACI's big claim to fame, is they're all disaster service workers. So they're covered under workers' comp if they trip over a cord. Just don't put yourself in a dangerous situation. You'll be fine. I mean, really, anybody can get hurt. So here's the purpose of the plan, scope. What I want to get to down here is organizational structure. Again, here's the different sections in our division. This is the organizational structure, how it's laid out. At the national level, we are the field service organization for the ARRL. Section level, that's myself, the section emergency coordinator, and then I would turn around and appoint either district or local emergency coordinators. The difference between a district and a local emergency coordinator is a district could be anything that's either physical, rather geographical, a large area, or a separate function, such as Bob Morris. He's our district emergency coordinator over the geographic region of Riverside County. I have a district emergency coordinator in Orange County. He oversees hospital groups. So he's a district emergency coordinator over that function. So a district can be either a function or a geographic region. Here's our 3 levels of membership. So this is what I want to point out. A lot of people don't realize how big a section is. The general population of the orange section is roughly 7,250,000 individuals. And the geographic area is roughly 38,000 square miles. Geographically, it's a huge region. I put a lot of miles on my car when I can get out and there's not a pandemic on. So we stretch all the way up to Bishop in Inyo County, and all the way down here to Riverside, all the way out to Blythe. I've been out to Blythe. It's geographically a huge area. Now, our hazards that we may respond to, this table 1. These aren't things that I just dreamed up. These are based on the 4 county operational plans. So this is what they would expect to have to respond to. So naturally, it's in our emergency plan also. And this next table is our high priority hazards: earthquakes, fires, floods, droughts, so on and so forth. So this is severity 1 to 4, 4 being the highest, probability of occurrence 1 to 4, 4 being most likely, and ARES response probability 1 to 4, 4 being the highest probability. So if we have a major earthquake, yeah, we're going to be called out. Okay. Fire watches for droughts. Orange County is big into fire watches, not so much out here in Riverside or San Bernardino. I'd like to get that going, but nevertheless. Extreme weather, we support Skywarn operations. We have a MOU with Skywarn. So I urge you to take a look at this. You don't have to download it, but take a look at it. Lots of good information in the emergency response plan. The other county plans are on here also: Inyo, Orange County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino. Along with the ARES strategic plan, the ARES plan, and this, again, the standardized task book. It's all here on the web. So any questions about the website resources? No? Okay.
Ray or Nick, do we have any kind of a profile of where, like, you start out with radio and you would get your tech license, then you would conceivably, hey Jack, you would maybe sign up with ARES, and then you'd get involved with ARRL, and then races and whatever. Do we have any kind of a flow chart of where everybody has, like, if they have their license, are they a tech general or whatever? And then just a progression of the way we would basically go if we wanted to go to the next level. Do we have any kind of a progression thing?
That's the reason why we are part of ARES now, because they have something that's put together. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the type of question you're asking, so now I'm a technician. Where do I progress after I become a technician?
Yeah.
Where do I fit in the scheme of emergency operations and stuff like that? And that's why we've become ARES associate organization.
Okay.
So because of all the planning they've done ahead for us. So we don't have to do all the hard thinking. It's already put together and set up for us. Makes sense?
George, I want to make it clear that you're talking about next level. When you
Yeah.
join ARES, there's 3 levels of membership.
Yeah.
But to go beyond ARES, it would be a different organization. Like RACES is a different organization. They have their own mandates, their own mission. ARES has its own mission. Salvation Army has its own mission. So there's not really levels, but there
Okay.
are different organizations.
All right. All right. That makes sense.
Okay.
And then I wanted to mention that all the training that Bob has mentioned, it's online. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to attend a class. You can do it
Right.
online. You do it at your own pace.
Okay.
The only thing they ask is that once you complete each of the classes, you'll have an opportunity to get a certificate. You don't have to print it out. Just send a link for that certificate off. And then since I'm the secretary, I guess I'll be organizing that mess. That stuff. Probably going to be an RG drive. So I'll just float it over and everybody's going to have their own little training folder. And then all the certificates will be moved over there. So that way it won't get lost. So later on, like a year or 2 down the line, you'll be able to find it because it might be hidden away somewhere on your computer. It'll be on our G drive.
Well, the ARES database, that stuff is in there. Your different levels. So the emergency coordinator, he can do a quick search of who has EC1, who has ICS 200. He can do a quick search and find those folks, and it logs and registers your training. Your task book is the individual person, so they can keep track of their own training. But it's all logged in the ARES database.
Okay.
No, Bob, the question I have is how do we validate? I thought there was a validation issue because anybody can go to the database and click that they've attended all these classes and in reality they haven't.
Well, exactly. It's up to the emergency coordinator to manage that.
Right. So I still got to manage that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, leadership has some work to do. I know we're volunteers and the pay's crappy, but there's still.
I got a raise last year. I got a whole raise, a whole 0 added on.
All right.
What else? Something else that came in my mind that I was going to ask. It eludes me, and I'll probably send you an email with the question.
Now, my understanding is you're under the Banning Pass organization. Are you?
Right. Mike Mendoza is our EC. And
Are you
Bob
considering
DEC?
Are you considering creating your own group, or just continuing under Banning Pass?
Oh,
Which
no,
is fine. Either way is fine.
We're going to do it under Banning Pass, but I'm sure Mike wants me to, since I'm the one that kind of stepped off and asked to be a part, have our club be part of ARES. I'm probably going to be the person that's going to be shuffling over the paperwork to Mike as far as validation of courses and stuff like that and getting our books in line.
So in other words, you're going to be the assistant emergency coordinator out there.
Let's not say that. Let's not say that. I don't know how that kind of blossoms, okay? I started off at the Red Cross of just being a volunteer, and now I'm a supervisor of 3 different areas within the Red Cross. So, and then plus my background in public safety and law enforcement. Oh, you can do that too, and you can do this too. So I'm kind of skittish about letting anybody know that I have any kind of knowledge and that I'm willing to do anything because it just kind of gets piled on me.
Yet you just reposted your personal website and has everything in there, buddy.
I know.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool website, Ray.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I thought it was.
anyways, if I can get a copy of that, that presentation, that would be nice.
Yeah, sure. I'll email it over to you.
Oh, good, because I'm sure at certain times, rather than pulling you away, you know, I could probably present the course to the group or to the HOA.
Sure, and I'm always available if you need it. You know, eventually when things are loosened up enough, I'll get out and start seeing people again, eyeball to eyeball instead of over the internet.
Well, our group is talking about, since we've relegated ourselves for a year on Zoom, we're talking about, we have a common area, a green belt right next to our clubhouse. And we're probably going, once the weather starts getting a little bit better, start meeting outdoors, and I'll probably be setting up my Go Kit, my Go Box. That way, when people are going into the club, they can at least see that we're doing something kind of interesting. They might come over, you know, and jump on board. So
Yeah, well, I've had my vaccination, so I'm invincible now. So
Yeah.
Me too.
yeah, that's not true, you know it. Very well, especially with all these variations that are popping up right now. So
that's what concerns me. I wish these anti-vaxxers would go ahead and get the vaccination so we can quelch this thing before the variant springs its ugly head and we have to do this all over again.
yeah,
Well, mutations are all part of that
Yeah,
thing, so.
it's awful. I wish people would just get their head out of the sand and go ahead and get vaccinated, for crying out loud.
yeah,
Don't want to go there. So
it's another animal.
yeah.
Any more questions for Bob on in regards to ARES?
Well, thanks
I'm
for the
good.
presentation, Bob.
Yes,
This is interesting,
very much.
but complicated.
Well, let me go ahead and end the recording real quick.